Welcome to Hank's Place. In a few days, we'll be celebrating Christmas. Perhaps you've been struggling with the lack of Christ in the Christmas activities that you see around you. Perhaps your heart's crying, put Christ back into Christmas. A little bit of history. I've shared before that in the founders of America, the Puritans, had made a covenant with God when they came here, that their nation, well, our nation, would be a nation under God. That was way back in 1628. As a godly people, they outlawed Christmas. Anyone caught celebrating was subject to fines and imprisonment. And why? Because at the time, back in England, where they came from, Christmas had nothing to do with Jesus, but everything to do with revelry, drunkenness, and debauchery. You see, Pope Julius I's efforts back in 350 AD to put Christ into the Saturnalia celebrations and make them a Christian celebration really hadn't take hold, didn't have much of a success. People reveled in sin and repented later. Fast forward. For over 200 years, Christmas was not celebrated in America. It was an ordinary day. Congress continued to meet Christmas Day up until 1856. The church in America, if they acknowledged Christ at Christmas in those early years, did so in a very subdued manner. Hank's Place number 320 has more about that if you want to tune into it. Christmas began changing in the latter 1800s and became much more of a relaxed family and children time. But there really was no overt worship of Jesus. And that's the way it is even today. In fact, you may remember when atheists attacked Christmas trees in government places on the basis of separation of church and state a few years back, the Supreme Court ruled Christmas trees were part of a traditional holiday, not a religious one. Was God in that? It's a thoughtful question. Well, this Christmas, though, don't let those atheists and those merchandising, greedy God deniers ruin your enjoyment of the holiday. What they do doesn't have to affect us, dear friend. We don't have to get bent out of shape when we see inflatable reindeer on our neighbor's roof. How about let's follow our heart and put Christ into our Christmas? How about we set an example of Christ in Christmas for others to follow? When our family was young, we often had a Jesus birthday cake and sang Happy Birthday to Jesus and gave thanks to God for sending a Savior. And we usually did that Christmas Eve. A few times we participated in Salvation Army's Angel Tree program, and the entire family worked in their warehouses that were filled with donated toys, selecting toys for boys and girls. It was a wonderful time for our children, working in rooms filled to the ceiling, literally with toys for other children. Christ in Christmas. And of course, having friends or strangers over for a meal and a good time. This Advent, let's rise above the world's distorted notions of Christmas. How about you and I add Jesus into our Christmas? We'll come alive.